And we are back here with another video today. Today we are looking at the Tennessee Volunteers in Josh Heupel's sixth year as the head coach there at Tennessee, ninth year overall as a head coach. Heupel looking to improve off of last season's 8-5 year, really up and down in terms of the good parts and the bad parts. You had games like Georgia where it was a 3-point loss, almost won in overtime. But then you had a game like Alabama, 37-20, where you just got dominated. Not a good game, not a good environment to be at. And then to close it all off, you had the Vanderbilt game. Obviously, you also had the bowl game, but bowl games are bowl games at this point. They're not as much of a factor. But the Vanderbilt 45-24 loss at the end of the season, that's just brutal to lose to a team like Vanderbilt, who's been little brother for so long in this rivalry. So we'll see if that's able to change here in this season. Welcome to the Football Expert. My name is Reikley Ruby, and thank you all for joining me here today. We're trying to reach a goal of 6,600 subscribers by the end of July here at the Football Expert. Only about 7 to 8% of you guys are subscribed currently, and that number's a little bit deflated because of the hype video that I've come out and just has so many people that have never watched the channel before. But make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. About 120 away currently. So hit that subscribe button, like the video if you enjoy it, and most importantly, comment your thoughts and opinions down below. Let me know what you think of this Tennessee football prediction, what you think Tennessee's record will be. So getting into today's video, first game of the year is against Furman. Interesting fact about this game is that Furman, the game before this, will play Division II Anderson University, which is where I go for college. And Furman's going to go from playing Anderson, who is a middle of the road Division II school at best. We just started a program recently, only our third year in existence our third year as a program. So then Furman's going to play us on a Thursday night and going to go play Tennessee the following Saturday. And that's just a crazy turnaround of events for me. But this will be a win. Furman is not the greatest team in the FCS ranks, but I see this as an easy win here, no problem. Road game against Georgia Tech. I do believe that this is going to be a back and forth type of game. I honestly went back and forth of it in terms of my schedule prediction. But with the quarterback position being so back and forth, whether McIntyre is going to be the starting quarterback or Braden is going to be the starting quarterback, it looks to be Braden from the reports that I'm seeing from looking at all of the magazines that I've looked through and stuff like that. It seems to be that, but Tennessee fans, let me know. That's been one of the biggest complaints in videos, is that I will think one quarterback's a starting quarterback, and then fans will have a different perspective because they're more in line with the messaging boards and stuff like that, having local sources that I don't have here. So I have this as a loss with the uncertainty there. I could change my mind the week of, but we'll see. First real game of the year for either of these teams. Kennesaw State, the next game of the year, easy win here, no problems. Get the win. Next game is a home game against Texas. This is where the schedule really starts here. I would love to see how they play against Georgia Tech to really see what this Texas game looks like. But you got the burnt orange and then the Tennessee brighter orange coming to town. So it'll be interesting to see how packed out Neyland Stadium is. I'm sure it will be sold out for this game. I have this as a loss. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Arch Manning, I do think that Texas is just a better team. They are more well-rounded. Their wide receiver core is bonkers. Their defense is solid. It lost some pieces, but it's solid. Tennessee does bring back one of the best running backs in the country in Deshaun Bishop. Just to pull out a couple of his stats from last year, 1,076 yards, 5.9 yards a carry, and 6 15 touchdowns. And that is just a crazy amount of touchdowns. You had a couple of guys below him also getting some snaps that took away some touchdown totals. But that's really where you see Joey Aguilar did a little bit was a solid playmaking quarterback. But the thing is that a lot of the pressure was not on Aguilar. It was just general. So I think looking at a game like that, you got to lean on Bishop. You got to find holes for Bishop. And the defense, it has to be better. Last year, it was not good. It just was not a good defense. It was not a good setup for Indiana or for Tennessee in this matchup. But the year before that, the defense looked great. So with the incoming defensive coordinator in Jim Knowles, is he able to make progress in this defense? So I would like to see if Knowles can implement his system more and develop it more. I trust him. I think he's a good DC, but he's got to be able to do a little bit better job there. Then next game is a home game against Auburn. I have this as a win. I think that Alex Golesh and Byron Brown will still be figuring things out there at Auburn, and the talent level at a place like Tennessee versus a first-year head coach at Auburn, it's just different. It just is. So I have that as a win. Next game on the schedule is a road game against Arkansas. I also have this as a win. Personally, I think Arkansas is the worst team in the SEC. No hate towards Arkansas. I like Arkansas. But looking at Arkansas, Ryan Silverfield seems like the most unqualified coach in the SEC. He did not really have the same success that Summerall and Golesh had at the group of 6, group of 5 level. So therefore, I don't know what to expect from Silverfield. I think that the quarterback situation is the defense has a whole bunch of question marks. The running back room seems to be okay. The wide receiver and offensive line, I don't know. So win there. Third Saturday of October, game against Alabama at home in Neyland. And I have this as a loss. I could see this as a win because I think that Alabama and Tennessee, it really depends for a game like this how the quarterback situation is. Does Alabama have a solidified quarterback, and is he playing well at that point? Does Tennessee have a solidified quarterback, and is he playing well at this point? And that's what I'm looking at is there a scenario in which they are playing well and they are really bringing up the rest of the team? If it's Faison Brandon, as a freshman, does he have the skill enough to be able to bring Tennessee above the level of just being a game manager in his freshman year? Because that's tough. That's tough. It really is. I don't think that they do. I favor Alabama, but the run game for Alabama was horrible. So the quarterback has a whole lot more pressure on him. But at the same time, Tennessee defensively is iffy at best. Like I said, the 37-20 loss isn't a great look. But you did beat them the year before that. So who knows? You've kind of gone back and forth with Alabama the last 4 years with the win at home and the loss on the road, back and forth. So I could see it being a win because obviously Neyland is massive home field advantage. So we'll see. Then a road game in South Carolina, kind of a payback game for a few years ago against South Carolina. I think this was 2022 when South Carolina beat Tennessee 63-38. Sorry. That was such a crazy wacko score of a game. But yeah, Spencer Rattler beat him. Lenore Sellers, you just got to shut him down, and you got to shut down Dylan Stewart. If you can shut down those two guys, and obviously I'm talking about two really, really talented guys in the SEC, two guys that if everything plays out well, they could be top 10 picks talent-wise. But yeah, you got to shut those two guys down. The defensive backfield for South Carolina is iffy. Does South Carolina have another edge rusher? How does the run stopping game look? What does the linebackers look? It looks improved this year. But I have a win here for Tennessee. Then a bye week, a home game against Kentucky. I think that you win this game here. Lost to Kentucky or beat Kentucky last year 56-34. I don't think it will be as high scoring, at least on not Kentucky's end. If that's true, then that's probably good for Kentucky and really bad for Tennessee's defense. But I have that as a win. I think that Will Stein has a lot of stuff that he needs to work on with Kentucky. He did take the offensive tackle, I believe, from Tennessee. It could be Mays. I don't know. I'm blanking on his name. I should know his name, but the offensive tackle. So that is also critical to see how does he play. That would be very interesting and a key loss for Tennessee. Road game against Texas A&M. I have this as a loss. I just favor A&M and Marcel Reed, Mike Elko. I just think that home field advantage and all that stuff contributes to a win there. Plus, I just think Texas A&M is just a better team than Tennessee is going to be this year. Home game against LSU. I went back and forth on this game. You could convince me of a win, but I have it as a loss. It's just something that I see more guarantees from a first-year head coach in Lane Kiffin than I do in a 6-year head coach in Josh Heupel. And if I do, I generally question why. Like, why do I have such a iffy view on such a good head coach in Heupel? And I think it's because there's a lot of question marks going into this year. And because of that, I'm going to pick a team like LSU that has some unknowns, but I wouldn't even say question marks in some of the positions. I think it's just like, well, I think they could, and it makes sense, but so I think that's a loss. Final game of the season is a road game against Vanderbilt. I do think that this is a win because I do think they bounce back against a team like Vanderbilt. Even though this game is on the road and not at home, I do think that Vanderbilt is also going to have some growing pains this year with Jared Curtis at quarterback. But most importantly, losing Eli Stowers, a guy that is just a mismatch nightmare, that there's just no replacing him in terms of a single player because he's just a mismatch demon. There's not much that you can do about it to replace him. So what does that offensive game plan look like for Vanderbilt going into next season against Tennessee? So 7-5 for the Volunteers, 5-4 in conference play. You could convince me of maybe a win or two there, getting a 9-3, but I struggle to see Tennessee making the playoff this year. Another difficult year for Heupel. But that's going to wrap up today's video. Hit one of the 2 videos down below. One will be a podcast of all my college football predictions, and hit the subscribe button up here as always. Help me reach my goal of 6,600 subscribers by the end of July. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.